autumn of 2010 is going to see farmers facing really a very big challenge. The summer was typified by high levels of blackgrass in fields after a season when control was difficult, and we also will have seen increasing levels of resistance. And really that was typified by the sorts of comments we got at Cereals 2010, where people were talking actively about needing to change their cultivation strategy, needing to think about their crop rotation, including spring crops or including fallow, and many people were going away straight after that event to either spray off or forage off badly infected patches. So those observations at Cereals are confirmed by the recent BASF survey, where over a third of farmers and over half of agronomists said that their blackgrass control in 2009-2010 season was either worse or significantly worse than before. Okay, so the key messages really are that people should think about the seed bank at the core of what they're doing, think about having to do a multiple of different things that collectively give you a good level of result, and the key to success is to do everything possible to minimise the burden that the herbicide has at the end of the day. And all a weed seed is trying to do is to get all the way around that cycle, produce a plant, produce more seeds, and then that reinfest the field for next year. And all the farmer's trying to do is to stop that at every single point possible. But the really critical time then is the window between harvest of one crop and drilling of the next crop. And that is when you have a real opportunity to stop weed seeds getting round it, kill them off when they've emerged, bury them with the plough, or delay drilling so that you've got another flush out of the way as well. So there are four really important tools at a farmer's disposal. There's the choice of crop, there's the cultivation strategy, there's the drilling date, and then there's the herbicides they're used. It's really important, therefore, to get a combination of all these factors working together. What I want to illustrate is a typical season where we start with a very high population of blackgrass, and I want to show how the cumulative effect of different options reduce that down to a very much more manageable population. As an example, if I start with a plough, that typically will give me up to 80% control, and therefore overall at that point it's 80%. If I make sure that I spray off then everything that is up and emerged, obviously not everything will be emerged, but typically you could reduce the population by 75% by use of glyphosate pre-drilling. That combined with the plough gives me an overall level now of 95% control. I add in delayed drilling, such as going into mid to late October, and that will give me a further 70% control. By making sure I don't reduce seed rates, I can get a further 50% control, and overall I'm now up above 99% control. The herbicide then, say, gives me 90% control, and that will give me overall 99.9% control, which is a much more manageable population than we started with before. Now, if I just change one thing in that program and replace that plough with a minimum cultivation, where we might get a very low level of control, say about 20% control, what you can see is that instantaneously the level of control I need to get from my herbicide goes up from 90% to 96% to just achieve that same overall level of control of 99.9% control. And I should point out that if you have some of the high populations, the 0.1% left is actually still around 100 plants per metre squared. So it's quite a high population even at that level of control. So a lot of the key pointers to improving the management of weeds throughout the rotation are contained in this new HGCA guide published this year at Cereals, Managing Weeds in an Arable Rotation. What that does is cover the whole toolkit of what is available, and it shows puts numbers on the examples and shows how they together combine to help you. So what we've tried to illustrate in this guide is that how the seed bank is the heart of all good weed control, and we've illustrated how, for example, the current strategy based on the current rotation with some non-inversion and some ploughing has given us a high level of blackgrass all the way through in the seed bank, but by simply changing one crop, and we, for example, changed winter beans into spring beans, and then inserting an additional plough later on, we have kept that weed seed bank at a much lower level all the way through the rotation. We've talked principles so far, but then there's some tactical decision making based on the level of dormancy that we see in the year that we've just had. And the year we've just been through has seen what we've defined as a medium dormancy year. So it isn't the highest and it's not the lowest dormancy. What we're expecting therefore is that emergence will be delayed a little bit of blackgrass from the freshly shed seed, probably by 3 to 4 weeks. At least the good news from all the heavy rain that we've seen during August is that it's very unlikely that moisture is now going to be the limiting factor, although in the dry summer you might have feared that was the case. It is, or should be, very likely that most people should get a good chance to get blackgrass up and away and sprayed off before drilling in the year that we're now going into, and so that should set things off well for what is then the building blocks of your herbicide strategy, which is a really good solid pre-emergence herbicide followed by a well-timed post-emergence herbicide. It's both the season and the weather conditions for activity, but also importantly probably increasing levels of resistance, and it'll be a little while until everybody's got tests to confirm whether their own resistance has gone up or not. But my assessment is that we should be assuming it is a combination of both, and therefore people should be assuming the resistance has got a bit worse and also doing everything they can to maximise the opportunity to get good herbicide performance.